Are you a high-achieving, goal-oriented mom who thrives on schedules, efficiency, and getting things right, but somehow pumping has thrown your entire system into chaos? You're not alone. Today, we're going to break down why Type A moms hate pumping, and more importantly, how you can turn this struggle into a success by utilizing some of your natural, beautiful tendencies. If you're new here, my name's Allison Tolman. I'm a coach for working moms and a breast pump expert. I've helped hundreds of ambitious women, doctors, attorneys, entrepreneurs, you name it, take back control of their pumping routines without sacrificing their milk supply or their careers. If that's something that you're interested in having help with, there's an application down below to fill out. You can have a free discovery call with my team and we can see if this is a good fit for you. I see this all the time though. Type A moms come to me and I think it's because of our, data-driven approach and just what we're doing on YouTube, but they come to me feeling frustrated, discouraged, and stuck because pumping doesn't work like the rest of their well-organized and intentional life. And I get it. Actually, my personal word for the 2025 year is intentional. I want everything I do to be intentional. I know you probably want that as well. And trust me, once you understand why this happens and some of the unique things that you're facing, you can change it and make this better. Type A personality traits are often associated with high-achieving, ambitious individuals who thrive on structure and control. All right, here are some common characteristics of Type A individuals, especially relevant to moms who are navigating pumping and breastfeeding. All right, nobody fits perfectly into a neat little box. I get that. So not all of these may hit the mark for you, but if many of them that do, then this video should help. So tell me if you resonate with any of these. We'll cover them and how to use them to your advantage instead of letting them drive you crazy. Some common Type A personality traits include 1, highly organized and detail-oriented. All right, you love planning and structure. They create schedules and expect routines to be followed. They may track every ounce of milk pumped and get a little bit frustrated with inconsistencies. Number 2, goal-driven and ambitious. They set high standards for themselves and they expect measurable progress and tangible results. All right. If your pumping output fluctuates, you might see this as a personal failure. It's a good sign that you have some Type A tendencies. Number 3, competitive and high performing. They often compare themselves to others, other moms who might pump more or who are in similar situations, how they're handling things mentally and emotionally. A lot of comparisons here. They often strive to be the best at whatever they do, including breastfeeding, which I love. Let's do it. They may push themselves to pump longer or more frequently or even under stressful conditions. Number 4, time sensitive and efficient. They dislike inefficiency and wasted time. All right. And if you've been on this channel before, you'll know that efficiency is my love language. So we really focus on that too. They want quick, predictable outcomes. Pumping should be as efficient as possible. They also may get frustrated if they don't see immediate results. Number 5, a strong sense of control. They want to be in charge of every situation. The unpredictable nature of milk supply can feel like a loss of control, and this tends to be a really big area of friction for mothers like this. They tend to feel anxious when things don't go according to plan, and as we know, life doesn't always go according to plan, so that can be a little challenging in that area. Number 6, impatient and easily frustrated. All right. They get frustrated when things don't work quite as expected. They don't like delays, whether it's, a milk letdown that's taking too long or slow increase in milk supply. That can be a little bit frustrating just based on some normal tendencies that you have. Might have a harder time accepting a trial and error process to find the right pumping routine. Again, that error part is not something that you enjoy or you're used to. Number 7, perfectionism and hard on yourself. You may have even decided to breastfeed or give breast milk because it's the best option and you're just used to doing the best, all right? You might even struggle with the idea of supplementing with formula, kind of seeing it as a failure. They're often self-critical when they don't meet self-expectations. Number 8, prone to stress and anxiety. The pressures they put on themselves can lead to burnout. I've seen this many, many times. Stress can directly affect your milk supply, making pumping even harder. And sometimes you can get stuck in this downward spiral of stress, lower supply, until things just kind of implode. Often struggle to relax a little bit too, which is a crucial part of efficient pumping. And number 9, multitasking and overcommitting. Right? You try to do it all, career, home life, breastfeeding, and everything in between. You may struggle with delegating tasks and or asking for help. And the thought of slowing down or taking a break can be a difficult concept to even wrap your head around. There are a lot of positive traits of a type A person, especially in motherhood. And I think one of the biggest things that I found is taking your natural tendencies and traits and things that are just inherent in you and using those to your advantage, whatever they are, in whatever scenario. And maybe I should talk about this later, but I get excited because I find that when type A moms find control of their milk supply and their pumping experience, it tends to bleed over and improve other aspects of their life. Because motherhood is hard and pumping and breastfeeding is challenging and a little unpredictable. And if you can master this piece, I see that especially type A moms tend to do really well in the future in other aspects of their life because they've found these little things within this journey that's really hard and unpredictable and been able to master some like inner concepts in themselves that just have long-term effects. It's really cool. Anyway, I digress. Let's get back on point. So why these kind of like natural traits, both the good and maybe the challenging ones, make pumping challenging is these three things, because pumping isn't always predictable, all right? And you can feel overwhelmed if you're expecting consistency or if you don't understand the process and you're feeling out of control. All right. Number 2, breastfeeding success isn't purely based on effort. Okay. And that lack of control again, and just like, if I put in the effort, it's going to be here. That's not always how it works with breastfeeding and pumping. And then 3, you push yourself hard. All right. Which can lead to burnout and stress. What I often see actually is type A moms hitting their goal and they drag their tired, broken body across the finish line and just like, they're hitting it no matter what, and it sucked, and they don't really want to do that again, and they're putting off having their next baby because that was awful, but they did it, you know? And that's awesome. Like, we love feeding babies, but the way you get there matters too, and you can have so much more control, peace, and stability in this experience than you think. We just have to implement the right steps. I want to dive into those 3 areas just a little bit more, okay? So the first is predictability. Pumping can lack a little bit of predictability, which type A moms tend to thrive on, all right? Type A personalities usually value structure, efficiency, and measurable results. Milk supply, though, isn't really a linear process. Even with meticulous planning, daily output can vary. There was actually a research study that I thought was really interesting. It was published in the Journal of Advanced Nursing, and they found that mothers with high levels of conscientiousness, which is a trait common in type A individuals, were more likely to initiate and continue breastfeeding, all right? Yet the unpredictable nature of milk supply can be particularly challenging for those who prefer control and predictability. So it was an interesting study. Like, you guys are more likely to start and continue breastfeeding. Like, you're determined, you're ambitious, you just get stuff done, which is awesome. But it can cause some negative effects if we don't really like do it in the right way. So here's a couple of solutions and tips on this area for you. Focus on tracking trends over time, all right, rather than daily fluctuations. So really stepping back. I always encourage clients to look at a 24-hour picture, but even like a week or a month, you know, kind of comparing data further out can make a really big difference. A single low output day does not define your success. All right. So again, stepping away from an individual session to 24 hours is better, to weeks, to months. Like, this is how we, you know, find more peace and comfort in your tracking and data. Another big tip here is to make sure that you have dialed in how to pump efficiently and recognize the aspects of pumping that make the biggest difference for you. All right. Pumping is an art. We've done another video on that recently, just talking about how pumping looks a little bit different for everyone. And it's kind of an art in how you get all of these aspects to work together. So understanding how to pump correctly and efficiently, as well as creating a predictable milk supply, is a huge focus of our coaching program, to be honest, because that's how you learn how to make smart decisions. You know how to fix unpredictable problems as quickly as possible and with intention, okay? Again, there's a link down below if you want to figure out if this kind of program and approach is right for you. You can schedule a free call with my team and they can walk you through it and see if this is a good fit for you. But reducing the unpredictability as much as possible is really key for type A individuals. And we actually can do that. You can have more predictability and at least know how to fix problems when they do weird stuff, right? That kind of control is what brings peace and joy in this experience instead of always being in this reactionary mindset. All right. that second point we were going to cover was that data-driven moms struggle with unmeasurable factors. So while we can track things when we're pumping, there are some things that are not quite as measurable, all right? And I have a pretty data-focused approach just because I like data, I like numbers, I like to know with the most surety possible about things that we can know about. But there are some unmeasurable factors as well, such as like stress levels and hormone changes. This can be frustrating because this is a big aspect of pumping correctly and the art of pumping. And that can be annoying. I know I've had several clients who have gone through all the logistics of pumping. Like, we're doing everything right. It's all working. Like, all the things match up and it's still not where we need it. And sometimes trying to figure out which mental and emotional aspects are affecting this pumping experience can be challenging. One, challenging to identify, but two, it's hard to do that kind of self-reflection, that inner work, and figure out, is this affecting my milk production and or the output? And it can kind of seem like woo-woo and a little vague, which is really hard for type A individuals because it's not as measurable, not as tangible, but it has a bigger effect than you think. Actually, one of my clients, Sarah, who is an attorney, she had a good story here. She was really diligent in her pumping routine, which is amazing as an attorney because that's a hard job to do that in. But she noticed inconsistent output and it drove her crazy. So what she implemented was she started doing a 5-minute kind of relaxation exercise before her pumping sessions, and her output increased by 25%, 25. We got to give her every percent she earned. And that's not easy. I know 5 minutes sounds like, oh, quick, easy thing. But when you sit down in that moment, 5 minutes is a long time. And especially when you are a busy working mom, you had to step away from your job to do this. Taking an extra 5 minutes to relax and get your brain in the right space, that is hard, especially for fast-paced type A moms, right? But she found that doing this, it made a huge difference for her. And it was the biggest contributing factor in increasing her milk supply quickly and being more consistent, all right? She actually was one of those clients that ended up using a lot of these techniques in other areas of her life that she had learned while trying to troubleshoot milk supply and pumping. Because milk supply and pumping, motherhood, this is hard and a lot gets thrown at you right all at once, especially if you have a career that you are attached to and good at as well. It's a lot. It's a really challenging time of life. And if you can master some of these tools, you will be surprised at how you can apply them in other areas. I was really proud of her, not only for her milk supply, but her self-awareness and willingness to kind of go internally and do the hard stuff. You know, it's so much easier to buy a new product or take a pill or like do something external, you know, pump more often. That's a common one that I see. It's harder to do the internal work to get out of your own way. So anytime I have a client that we can work through that with, I'm always so impressed because it's challenging, especially for type A individuals, if you're still watching this and are resonating with that. So a solution here really is to look at some of these unmeasurable things and how can we implement, you know, some stress management techniques. And I know it sounds silly and like, just like give me my flange size and my pumping routine and let's go. But logistics will only get you so far, okay? There's really no need to push the rock up a hill, right? Find ways to work smarter, not harder. And then that third step was this illusion of control. You know, why it feels like you're failing. And part of this is a tendency of a type A individual. It's just a strong need for control. And when your body doesn't respond as expected during pumping, it can lead to feelings of failure. And I know, like, I see this all the time. I've felt this before. And I know this saying is a little cliche now, but your worth is not measured in ounces. And I know you've probably heard that before. We've been saying that for a long time in this space, but it's 1,000% true. And I know you probably already know that with your brain, but getting yourself to actually believe that is harder. And we have moms that have talked about this often, and especially on our podcast, we have, you know, our clients share their stories. And this is a common thread, is that they feel like a failure when things don't go well. Here was an interesting insight from a study too. According to Dr. Amy Brown's research, mothers who were introverted or had high levels of trait anxiety, they found it more challenging to initiate and continue breastfeeding. All right. That might not be you, but this suggests that personality traits can influence one's breastfeeding experience. And I have seen that highly with kind of some type A individuals. And to be honest, These are kind of the individuals that I tend to attract and I love working with, to be honest. I love the beautiful parts of someone who is goal-oriented, who is ambitious, who is driven, who likes to be in control, who's, data-oriented, who wants to understand themselves. They want the easiest, most efficient way, a step-by-step plan. Like, these are the people that tend to find me. I think that's probably just because that's how I function and like to live too, which is great. But a solution here in this area might be to try and shift your perspective from controlling milk production to optimizing it, and view it as a system that requires adjustments and fine-tuning, similar to the strategies that you're probably already employing in your professional life. I do think that you can achieve a feeling of control in this experience. Actually, I know it. Like, clients have talked about this before, and it often stems from a place of understanding, right? Understanding your own body and creating a predictable milk supply. That is, like I said, a main focus of our program. Then you have more control in the decisions that you make. Adjusting your pumping times as needed during the day, moving your milk supply up or down, recovering from days that didn't go like you planned, like you know exactly how to do that, and even deciding when to wean. I know if you're in the thick of things, that might seem like a long ways away, but every time I have a client that starts that weaning process and starts weaning from the pump or from the breast or whatever, it's a mental game, but they've been so used to adjusting and finding control and finding the areas that they can, have some stability in, that when they decide to wean, they're able to work through it a little bit better. And honestly, having support is a huge piece of this. Like, having someone who's done this before. Type A individuals tend to really enjoy people that have been there before, or like a clear process or authority, I guess you could say. But just like someone say, hey, I've done this before, here's how you do it. Like, the concept of investing in yourself is usually not a foreign concept to people like this, because you're just used to finding the easiest and fastest solution to your problems, right? Okay, so that was kind of the three main areas that we pulled of difficulties from, individuals who have type A characteristics, all right? There's two more I want to touch on really briefly. One is the perfectionism trap. I must do it all, okay? And I see this a lot. You have high expectations for yourself and believe, and again, we often see, breastfeeding as the best option. And so that's what we're going to do. You have specific milk output targets that you're trying to achieve, and then, avoiding supplementation at all costs. And I'm here for it. Like, if I want what you want, right? And if this is really important to you or a partner or whatever, I want it too. However, striving for perfection can lead to burnout. And this type of all or nothing thinking is something, honestly, that I've struggled with forever. Like, this is how my personality and brain works too, in this all or nothing way. But learning to work with my own tendencies and not against them has made a huge impact on my life. And I know that this can help you in your pumping strategies as well. I know I've said this before, but it's so cool to me that your pumping experience can not only feed your baby, but also enrich your life. It's amazing to watch when it's done with intention and control. So we could probably have a whole other video talking about perfectionism in moms who are pumping and breastfeeding, but just an idea for a solution here might be to define what success means for you personally. I know in our program, we really harp on having clients set non-milk supply related goals. What other things are important to you? I can guarantee there are other things that are important to you. It might involve a little bit of mixed feeding, breast milk and formula, or adjusting your pumping schedule to better fit your lifestyle. Again, your well-being is paramount, and it doesn't have to be all or nothing. So I think really sitting down and defining, what does success to me mean? What does it look like on the other end when I got there and I'm like, that was awesome. I did it. And I did it the way I wanted to do it. You might be surprised that it may not all be surrounding milk output and numbers. And lastly, an area that I've seen some challenges in are just having limited time for trial and error. With demanding schedules, type A moms often lack time to experiment with different pumping techniques or schedules. And I know you probably like efficiency like I do too. So finding the easiest path to learning and success really is key. Sometimes the stakes are high and we need to fix a milk supply problem really quickly. And sometimes we have limited time for trial and error because work schedules are so tight and inflexible. I was actually just working with a client this week who only has 20 minutes to pump. She's a teacher. And she's like, there's no more time, but I'm leaving milk behind. So how do we do this? And we balance the things that we know about making milk and the science there with the practical aspects of your life and trying to figure out, the best balance, all right? And if you have low supply or we're trying to fix a problem, there is limited time. And sometimes you're limited in the amount of brain space that you have left to give. I know that your brain space is precious and that it's taken up by a lot of things and that you're, very structured in how you live your life and things like that. And so I think the biggest solution here, if you're looking for that time piece, if that really resonated with you and you're like, yes, limited time for trial and error is a big thing for me, you really just need to find guidance from someone who can help give you personalized strategies and tailor to your needs. It's going to save you time and reduce frustration. So it's easiest to find resources from one place that you trust rather than trying to piece random ideas together from all over. That's how we end up with random results. So find a place that you trust and someone that can walk you through it. There's more than one way to do this, right? There's more than one strategy, but just pick something and move forward. I know that's what I did when I launched a business. There's a lot of different ways. There's a lot of different models and they all work and they're all good. I found one that fit my needs, that spoke to me as a person so that I know that this could be sustainable and in some ways that just resonated with me. And then I just stuck there and followed it. You know what I mean? And it can be easy to have shiny object syndrome and see, oh, there's this new thing, or oh, someone else said this and this. But that's how we get crazy random results and this feeling of out of control and not knowing what's working. All right. So if you're still here and you resonate with me and my approach here, my goal really is to help working moms who are career driven. I love type A moms. Like if you are you're my jam. Like this program is built for you. If you're looking for a fast and efficient way to meet your breastfeeding goals while also still balancing that career, really looking at it in a holistic way, that's what we do. So feel free to reach out. And like I said, you can schedule a free call with my team. They'll help answer any questions you have. Make sure you're a good fit before you invest in something like this, because we definitely don't want you throwing your money away for no reason. So if I can help at all, let me know. But I love type A moms. I'm probably a little bit that way as well myself and really resonate. There's some really beautiful things that you have, and you can really utilize your natural tendencies to work for you. Again, working smarter, not harder. Not trying to fight against yourself, but really learning and understanding and then living your life. Your life doesn't have to be all about milk and pumping, and that's what I want for you too. So if I can help, let me know. Otherwise, good luck and happy pumping.